121층에서 지하 1층까지 약 1분 정도 소요됩니다.
롯데월드 단지의 야경과 축제를 감상해주겠습니다. 롯데월드 타워를 중심으로 한 불꽃놀이쇼와 서촌호수 공원 등 야경의 아름다움을 느끼실 수 있습니다. Now it's time to take a look at the night view and festivals near the Lotte World Complex. With Lotte World Tower at the center, you can enjoy a variety of attractions that look beautiful during the night, including the fireworks show in Sokchon Lake.
도착하셨습니다. 두 문이 완전히 열리신 후에 하차하실게요.
하늘 위의 새로운 세상 서울 스카이를 찾아주셔서 감사합니다.
감사합니다. 안녕히 가십시오.
오른쪽입니다. 안녕히 가십시오.
To leave for Taiwan again, and our flight was once again delayed, which is fine. It's been delayed half an hour, which I think is pretty good. I get to relax and take my time, but I came here extra early, which I didn't mind because I had to do tax refunds and pick up my duty-free shopping items, which turned out to work out just fine. And I have to say, I didn't film the airport that much. Just because there were just too many people. When I came back, I had way more luggage than I thought I would. I think I had a total of maybe like 40 kilos of items, and I was just like, crap, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to pay for second luggage. And then it turns out I could do a second check luggage, which I didn't know about. So I just checked in one and pulled out my foldable backpack to stuff in some stuff that was overweight. And so I got to get away with 2 checked luggages. But I will say about the Incheon airport, what's really nice is they have a lot of cultural stuff. So I would say if you come here really early, it's totally fine because they have a lot of like cultural activities you can do. For example, maybe I did film like a small clip, but it was actually kind of hard to see. But we got to paint like a wooden frame, which was to symbolize like their old Korean dressers, and it's sort of like cultural activities to understand about Korean culture, which I thought was pretty neat. And they have performances, and you could take pictures with people dressed like that era. So I think it's pretty cool to be at the Incheon airport for actually longer than you intend. I would say when you arrive in Korea, immigration took me an extremely long time. But when you're leaving the country, typically it's much faster because they're totally fine with you leaving their country. But that's about it. I would say to sum up, I'm pretty happy about my Korea trip. I would say definitely if I wasn't waiting for my eyebrow tattoo, I have to wait 2 weeks before I could get a touch up, from what I understand. But if it weren't for my eyebrows tattoos, which I'm very happy with, I just had their touch up, so they look extremely dark right now, but they'll fade after a week. But I would say the tattoos, if it weren't for a tattoo, I think staying in Korea for maybe a week up to 9 days maximum is more than enough in Korea, unless you're willing to go out of Seoul, like Jeju Island, things like that. I didn't decide to go to Jeju Island just because I felt like, I don't have a car or anything like that, and I heard it's pretty spacious and big. So without, a car, it didn't make sense for me to go to Jeju by myself. Um, Mostly for what I did is mainly shopping, as you could tell from my situation of having too much luggage. But tips I would say from this trip is, if you're going to shop for things, try your hardest to do it in Myeongdong for skincare and makeup, and at the duty-free stores. For example, like Lotte department store is duty-free, and they have a few others. Just get the refund immediately so you could bypass dealing with tax refunds. It is very efficient, and they have a lot of counters, but I've seen and heard situations where people still waited hours just to get their tax refund. However, in my case, even though I still had a few to work through, I think it only took me maximum 5 minutes to get everything completed. I'm very confused about all of the instructions on the tax return envelopes to give us. It says you must get a customs inspection and all of this, but I didn't have one, so I'm not quite sure what that's about, but that's just my experience. Make sure you guys ask the counter. You could also do like immediate tax refund before coming to the airport. At least the first step at, usually I would say going to Lotte World, or I think they say Lotte World Tower. There's pretty much most of the duty-free return places in that proximity on Olympic Row. So I would do something like that. Other things I would say, I filmed like me going to cat cafes, and I think I filmed at the dog cafe, but I'm not sure, but I think those were quite nice. They have a lot of animal themed cafes, which is obviously what I went to. But yeah, for the most part, that was pretty much it. It was mainly just shopping. I was going to film a video where I was sharing what I brought, but honestly, it's very similar to what I bring on my Thailand trip, just a little bit more, things like that. I would say for Korea, if you're coming sort of like me, where it's a transition between sort of like autumn and then close to winter, where it's starting to get really cold. When I first got here, it was really hot, actually. And then now that I'm leaving, it's extremely cold. So I would say, ladies, if you get leggings, those kinds where you kind of roll over and things like that, I think those were the best leggings I brought, because when it got really cold, I could just flip them up and it'll cover my belly. And then sweatpants, things like that, with zippers when I travel, things like that. Those are definitely the most helpful. But yeah, overall, I would say Korean Air is really great. Very, very nice people, extremely helpful, extremely courteous, things like that. Even on the flight, the food was, thus far, like out of all the flights I've been on, I would say they provided the best food that I liked. But yeah, I think that's about it. So I'm kind of sad in a way to leave Korea, because that means I have to go back to reality. But I do miss my family and my friends and my students and things like that. I'm ready to return to my regular life, I think, and see my cats. But that was my Korea trip. If I think of anything else, I'll probably add on to it. But I'm at the airport by myself. Well, not by myself, but kind of in my corner talking to myself. So hopefully you guys enjoyed kind of the mishmash of vlogs I put together. I will mention things I think you should really consider doing in Korea. I would say definitely go to the Lotte World Tower. For me, we have Taipei 101 in Taiwan, but to me, it's like, man, whatever. I haven't actually been up to Taipei 101. However, at Lotte World, that was incredible. It was extremely well done. And there's like 5 different floors they could go through. So it's definitely worth the time. It's worth the $27. You could spend probably hours. I spent probably 5 to 6, or maybe 5 hours while I was there. And I'll try my best to cut together a clip of that. So other places, Myeongdong again is pretty fun. Hongdae is not bad if you like the clubbing scene, but I'm not that kind of person. Yeah, definitely when you come to Korea, I would say especially for men and women, is to go to Anguk, ANGUK, and you get to dress up in hanbok, which is their traditional wear, and you could rent them and then take pictures by yourself. We tried finding photographers, but I think most of those are arranged, and we didn't see portfolios, so we just did it on by ourselves. So make sure you bring like a tripod for your phone and one of those hand remotes, so then you could take really pretty pictures. When you go, I would probably suggest going on the weekday if you could, but we actually went on the weekend, and I would say go earlier if you go on the weekend, because once it's mid-afternoon it starts picking up and you'll have a lot of people. So I would say the earlier the better, just so you don't hit as much, people hanging around there and kind of ruin your shot. So, but yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that, and I just want to say thanks, Korea. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.